My coworker planned to get me fired backfired in the worst way. I, 33 female, have been in a private relationship with my coworker, Chris, 34 male, for about 3 years. We kept it quiet to avoid office gossip, but things took a turn when Jess, 28 female, joined our team. She became obsessed with figuring out my personal life, constantly prying and making comments like, "Ben, you and Chris spend a lot of time together, and I wonder if there are any secret office couples." At first it was just annoying, but then Jess escalated. She went to HR, falsely accusing me of using my relationship to get ahead. Chris and I had to sit through an investigation, but we were cleared. Still, the damage was done. People started treating me differently, and the office felt colder. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. A few weeks later, I noticed Jess getting close to our boss, Matt, 42 male. She started going on private and business lunches with him and suddenly had access to things she shouldn't. Then, out of nowhere, I was called into HR again. Another anonymous complaint claimed I was creating a hostile work environment. I knew Jess was behind it, but instead of panicking, I started documenting everything. When HR confronted me, I almost exposed Jess's relationship with Matt, but I decided to keep quiet. I figured she'd slip up on her own, and she did spectacularly. One night our team went to a restaurant after work. Coincidentally, Matt's wife was there with her friends. As she was walking by, she overheard Jess loudly joking with a coworker about how Matt was wrapped around her finger and how she was getting whatever she wanted at work. That got his wife's attention. I actually tried to warn Jess. The next morning, I pulled her aside and told her she needed to be more careful because Matt's wife had been right there when she made those comments. I wasn't even trying to be petty. I genuinely didn't want to see this turn into a full-blown disaster. But Jess just rolled her eyes, smirked, and said, "Please, she's too dumb to figure anything out." I shrugged and walked away. I tried. Well, Matt's wife wasn't dumb. She started digging, and a few days later she stormed into our office, furious. She went straight to Jess's desk, threw a stack of printed out texts onto her lap. Yes, she had receipts, and then she swung on her. Jess barely had time to react before Matt's wife grabbed her by the hair and dragged her to the ground. Papers went flying, people screamed, and it got ugly fast. Jess fought back, clawing at her, and within seconds chairs were knocked over, a monitor crashed to the floor, and someone had to physically pull them apart. Security got involved, but by then the damage was done. The cops were called because Matt's wife would not let up, screaming about how Jess was a homewrecker and that she deserved worse. HR immediately stepped in, and it was chaos. Employees were filming, people were panicking, and Matt looked like he wanted to disappear. In the end, Matt was fired for misconduct, Jess was escorted out for violating company policies, and his wife was taken out by security but wasn't arrested since Jess refused to press charges, probably to avoid more embarrassment. As for me, I kept my job, and the office finally had a real scandal to talk about. Now some coworkers say I was being petty by not pushing harder to warn Jess, while others think she got exactly what she deserved. I never intended for things to explode like this, but after she tried to ruin my career, I don't exactly feel bad.